Hi guys, I think we are live now. Just let me know if you guys can see me. Hi, hello everyone who's joining us. I think we are live now. Hi, can you guys see me? Hi, hello. Hi, Sanjeev. Hi, Sharmishta. Hi, Saurabh. Hi, Praveen. Hi, Amar. Hi, all of you guys who are joining us. Yeah, okay, good. I think we are live now, and I think you guys should be able to see me. Okay, so good to see all of you guys over here. Hi. Okay, cool. If there are any issues with the audio volume or if you can't hear me, just let me know. So good to see all of you guys over here, and I'm very good to see that everybody of you, like all of you, have taken a early start for that. CAT is behind us. It's time to put it completely behind us and focus on that. A lot can be achieved in a month if you are focused. So I want all of you to actually focus completely on that, on all your effort as such on that, so that it will help you make the best of the second opportunity that you have. You had one opportunity with CAT, you have another opportunity with that. So however your CAT went, even if it went really, really well, please focus on that so that you have another opportunity. So you have multiple calls that you can convert as such, okay? So all of you guys who are joining us, and I see 97 of you. So please, I would first ask you guys to please first like the stream and share the stream with whoever is appearing for that. Just like the stream, it will help boost our morale, and it would make us hold more of these sessions as such. So please like the stream and please share it with whoever is preparing for that. Also, I would urge you guys to start preparing seriously, start looking at the previous year's XAT papers, start looking at the XAT pattern, whatever is different, and also start focusing on decision making. So we'll be, this stream would be basically an intro to decision making and what exactly you have ahead of you. If you have already given that, you know exactly that this is a make or break section. In many cases, this is something that goes well or sometimes goes terribly. Like DILR in CAT, this is the make or break section in that. So good to see all of you guys who have joined us. Okay, hi all of you guys who have joined us. Okay, will there be a session for IFT too? Yes, Maitri will hold a session for IFT, but I don't know the details of it or the date of it yet, but we'll definitely hold that. Yeah, please like the stream, guys. Okay. And is it Quant is very difficult? Is it true that XAT Quant is very difficult than CAT? No, I would say that it is not more difficult. In fact, I would say it is slightly easier. But essentially, another advantage that you don't realize when it comes to XAT Quant is that if you're good at verbal, you get more time to do Quant because there's no section-wise time limits. Basically, what I do whenever I give XAT as such is that I quickly do off the verbal and decision-making part, and then I focus entirely on Quant. And because if I get Quant really, really perfectly well, then my overall score becomes very high. Then that is basically why I get rank 1 or I get close to 100 percentile, because essentially my Quant is 100% attempted and my accuracy in Quant is generally much higher. Everybody's accuracy in Quant is much better than in verbal or in decision making. So because I spend a lot of time there, it actually most of the time it will be the positive differentiator than the place where you should that you should worry about. The places that you should worry about are decision making, and in some cases verbal also, because the verbal is slightly different. There is poem RCs, the RCs are, there's grammar and sentence correction. So because of that, this is something that you should be more mindful of. One more thing, guys, if you guys are just starting to prepare, please do check out our XAT crash course. So our XAT crash course I think started yesterday, but yesterday was essentially the overview video. So please do check out our XAT crash course. It essentially covers all of the concepts that are there for XAT. Essentially, if you are somebody who has not given CAT, everything will be covered for XAT. If you have given CAT and you have already covered all of those concepts, we basically highlight the specific portion that is specific to XAT. So there are certain things that are not part of CAT but are part of XAT. For example, poem RCs, grammar and sentence correction, essentially decision making. There are several videos of decision making, and we have tried to make frameworks and different types of decision making, like categorize it and try to give you ideas about how to answer specific type of decision making problems. So we have basically tried to focus on what is specific to XAT, which is not there as part of CAT. So if you have done CAT, you will find this much more easier to do. But even if you have not done CAT or prepared for CAT, it will still cover everything for you. So do please check out our XAT crash course. It is essentially a 30-day crash course to get you completely covered for XAT as such. Okay, so let's get started. I'll answer one more question and I'll then start with this. Also guys, please head over to cracku.in/live. We will be solving 2 DM sets today. This is essentially a like a way to get you introduced to decision making. A lot of people have completely no idea of decision making, so this would be the first introduction. So I want to give you an idea of what is decision making and give you a couple of easy to moderate sets from decision making. Okay, so please head over to cracku.in/live. We'll be having a small test, just 2 easy to moderate sets of decision making as such. So good to see a lot of participation. I would request all of you guys, I see 178 people. Please guys, please like the stream because that will help motivate us to hold more of these streams as such. Okay. Virtual calculator available in XAT and IFT? No, it was not there in XAT. I'm not sure of IFT, but it was definitely not there in XAT. Is there a sectional cutoff for XAT? Yes. There will be sectional cutoffs. There will be sectional cutoffs for DM. There will be sectional cutoffs for VARC, and there will be sectional cutoffs for Quant also. DM1 is the one which is mostly make or break because verbal and Quant are manageable. Generally, the DM cutoff is in single digits, but a lot of people end up in single digits anyway. So that is the key cutoff that you have to clear in most cases. Okay. Hi, can I get a decent college to CAT general engineer, general non-engineer? Kaushal, I would suggest go to the percentile predictor, go and see what your attempt was, what your expected raw score is, and just see where you would actually end up given your particular profile. That would give you a better idea than just me as such, because that has a lot of parameters that you have to consider. Okay. Your decision making is fine, but I want to excel in it. How to do that? Vishal, I would say that there is no excelling in decision making. If you are giving that for the first time, I will tell you that it is see, decision making, I will tell you for a fact, is that it is not a exact science. It is not like Quant where there will be one undisputed answer. I would say that there are certain definitely wrong answers, but there can be more than one right answer as such, and it is very, very subjective. What I think might be different from what the paper setter thinks. From like essentially many times when we actually come out with the key also, it is difficult to actually say for certain that this is the answer or this is not the answer, because it is very, very subjective in nature. I'll give you an example as such. One of the DM sets in the last year's that I think it was about a student approaching a professor saying that one of his group members in a group project as such, her father had died, and he was requesting the professor for an extension in the project submission as such. I as a person would have said that the right thing to do in that particular case would be to grant a extension in submission, because a bereavement like that of a parent as such is important and a kind of a very difficult time for the student and even her group members as such to actually handle the entire workload. At that point of time, you should definitely give an extension. But the correct answer in that particular set was that the professor should say that it is not my problem as such. Now, you would not agree with those kind of solutions, and paper setters and professors and one person and another person will not agree with the DM answers. So the point is that not to excel in it, you should pass the DM cutoff, you should do reasonably well, you should hit double digits, maybe even like out of 21, try to hit like say 15 as such, which would be very good. But I would say that focus your energies, if you want to excel, focus your energies on verbal and reasoning and Quant. Quant especially will be the one where you will actually get the most value, where you can get the most accuracy, and where you can actually do really, really well. I think I topped last that also, and I didn't do particularly well in DM. I got I think 11 or 12 as such. I'm not really sure, But essentially there's no excelling in DM, and excelling in DM is not the way to actually topping the exam. The way to topping the exam is XAT Quant. You should just pass or clear the DM hurdle, so that is not the sectional cutoff that ends your XAT dream as such. Okay, so with that I will start with what is XAT decision making and why it is actually put in XAT. See, basically you would wonder that why would somebody put such a subjective section in XAT. The point is that they want to see your emotional quotient as a person before you're selected into the MBA school. So essentially emotional quotient is extremely important for managers. It's extremely important that somebody who is managing people has a certain amount of emotional quotient. And that also means that it is not going to be like IQ where you will have definitive answers. Here they are looking that you will give reasonably good enough answers. So reasonably good enough means that out of the 21 questions, you kind of agree or disagree on at least 10 of them. So that would be a reasonably good enough EQ as such for a person to have to become a manager as such. So it's a test of your emotional quotient. How well do you understand and respond to issues that are not exact or unambiguous? In some cases things are unambiguous, but in many cases things are not unambiguous. Somebody will lose something. With your decision, somebody will lose, somebody will gain, some rules will have to be broken, or some rules will have to be upheld. So it is sometimes a gray area where you can't say that, yeah, this is the exact right path to be taken. So the paper setters basically want to see that, can you at least eliminate which are exactly wrong paths to take, which are absolutely things that you should not do. You should at least be able to eliminate those kind of options or those kind of choices. So that leads me to the basic framework that you should apply when you are solving decision making questions. I'll try to answer some more of your queries. Please actually put them. But I would also urge the guys who are tuning in, and I see 213 of them, to please like the stream. So basically remember, when you are solving the decision making set, try to think of it in terms of a framework. First thing is that remove all choices that are unethical. The only options that you should consider, what should you do in this case, what should be the right thing to do, that you should only do things that are ethical. Any unethical choices, bribing people, using coercion, abusing somebody, abusing authority, stealing money, or using any kind of unfair means is unethical. You should not do that kind. So basically, from whatever choices you have, remove everything that is unethical. Your choices should only be ethical choices as such. So once you have removed the unethical choices, the second filter that you should apply is basically that it should be practical, that is pragmatic, and it should be feasible. So basically, if I say that if it's an HR problem and basically the person has to decide whether or not he should go on leave and help his ailing mother or like an ailing parent, or he should continue to finish his project that is important or something, some dilemma of this sort. So basically, if I go to a manager and say that give me leave with pay for 6 months, the manager is going to tell me, no, this is not possible. So whatever option that you choose should be practical and feasible. No manager is going to give you 6 months leave with pay without any reason as such. So whenever you actually select an option, think, is this practical? Would this hold up in real life? Is this feasible? So for example, I would like to spend like thousands of rupees on like marketing or getting people on board, but sometimes it won't be feasible as such from a business perspective as such. So the second filter that you should apply is that, is it practical, is it pragmatic, is it feasible? If it is not, you can eliminate that option as such. The third filter that you should often apply is that, is it effective? So a lot of times, many of the things that are addressed, this is especially in the case of, there are some DM sets which will ask you what should this person do, and there will be some DM sets which will basically tell you which information is valuable. Specifically in cases wherever they are asking you which information is valuable, knowing that information should be effective. It should help you make a decision either way. Doing that action should be effective. It should help you achieve a goal, and it should not be any goal but the goal stated in the problem statement. So basically there will be a goal stated saying that, okay, help Anuj do this without creating any kind of friction at his workplace. So there is a stated objective saying that there should be no friction at his workplace. So is it achieving that particular objective or not? So the third filter that you have to put is it effective? The last one is basically optimization. So if you are after these three filters, if you are left with more than one particular answer or more than one particular option as such. Basically figure out what is the optimal solution of them, which helps you achieve the goal the most, or which is the best solution among the solutions that you have in achieving the goal as such. So these are the 4 things basically you have to do when you're answering decision making sets. Remember, don't do anything that is unethical. Do not make choices which are not pragmatic or practical. Do not choose options which are completely ineffective. And then whenever all of these filters are done, just choose the one which will best help you achieve your objective as such. Remember, this is a test of your emotional quotient. A lot of subjectivity, a lot of thinking from a human perspective is involved. You have to try to think of it from all the stakeholders that are involved and then take a decision. So with that, I'll give you the first set. I want you guys to take a look at it and try to answer it. Before I go on, please guys do check out XAT crash course as such. If you haven't actually started your preparation, first things first, go to Cracku's website. We have the previous year's XAT papers. They are available in the mock format as well as in the PDF format, and we have actually put in a lot of effort to put in good quality answers for all of these XAT mocks. So please do take previous year's XAT papers. All of the previous year's XATs have XAT papers have the mocks, and they have their solutions. They have proper solutions with every single list. So please do check out our XAT papers as such. The second thing that I would like to say is that please do check out our XAT crash course. Basically it's a day-wise schedule of how you can actually go about cracking XAT. Every day we'll tell you exactly what videos to watch, what kind of test to take, what you have to practice. So please do check out XAT crash course. It will be the most effective way of using the 1 month before XAT. So let's get started. I'll try to answer a few questions and I'll just then go on to the this. I see 228 people, guys. Please like the stream. Whoever has not liked the stream, please like the stream. Anyone who has not gone, okay, a lot of people have not headed over to the website. So please go to cracku.in/live. I see very few people over here. The test will be at cracku.in/live. So please head over to cracku.in/live and please start the test as such so that you can see the questions when they come. So basically the test will appear here. You will get the opportunity to answer the test in real time, and then you can like see how your answers match up with the real answers as such. There'll be 2 DM sets. They'll be easy moderate, so do not worry. These are definitely doable DM sets as such. Okay, I'll give you some time to head over to cracku.in/live and I'll just answer a few questions in that time. Okay, XAT mock sorted. Okay, what is the best way to excel in VARC? Basically in this case, Vivek, I would say that there are RCs, there is reading comprehension. The reading comprehension is, I feel, generally easier than CAT. So if you are somebody who struggled with CAT reading comprehension, this is, I feel, like slightly easier as such. But there is grammar and sentence correction. So you have to pick out the sentences which are correct, which are grammatically incorrect. So that is the place that you should focus on when it comes to VARC for XAT, because that is the additional work that you have to do from CAT as such. Time division for each section. Again, because you shouldn't focus on that, because I'll tell you that decision making, do not spend too much time on it, because essentially you should attempt all sets, but do not spend a whole lot of time on decision making, because your basic goal should be that you get through decision making, you solve the entire VAR section, verbal and reasoning section, and spend as much of your time on Quant as possible, because Quant will give you the best return. So basically go through the entire verbal section, do not leave anything, go through the entire DM section, but do not spend too much time second guessing, because it doesn't really help at all. DM section, basically do not spend crazy amount of time in DM section. I would say that for the 21 questions, do not spend more than like 30-35 minutes as such. If you can spend, if you can do it in 35 minutes, great, because then you can focus all of the time you have on Quant section as. Okay, and I took the Cracku free snap mock today and got 29.25. Okay, basically, I think definitely just first go and check what were the areas that you how did you actually do in each of the section of snap. Basically, just take a look at every single question you got wrong, every section that you actually passed over. see your individual topic strengths and weaknesses as such. Then once you start working on that, that will help you improve in the score. Okay. I know only arithmetic and quant, even CAT I struggle in quant. How do I improve and add algebra to it also, and use the DI sets to maximize score? So Ayush, if you are just starting with algebra and if you are not very confident with algebra, I would suggest start with quadratic equations. Quadratic equations come in CAT Quant, they come in XAT Quant, and they are fairly formula based. So if you know the basic concepts and formulas, most of these quadratic equation questions are solvable. So I would say that if there is one thing that you should focus on in algebra, start with quadratic equations, get very good at it. Then it would be a part of algebra, I would say 30-40% of algebra that you would be able to do. Okay. Okay. I already have filled small. Is it good to for me to give XAT exam? Yes, definitely give XAT exam. Basically, you should have as many choices, as many options as possible. But I don't know what is the last day for it. Just please actually fill in the form if it is still live. Fill in the form as quickly as possible. Okay, essay preparation. Shrutakirti, basically the thing that you have to remember is for essay is that you should start preparing for essentially general knowledge, both from clearing the GK section perspective as well as having the ability to write a proper essay. Also from the perspective of like the GDPI that is going to come as such. So start reading upon current affairs, start reading newspapers. Secondly, start writing basic small essays on topics that you have read. So basically, if you read about the farm laws, write a 2 paragraphs short essay about the farm laws. Now again, the topics that will come in that need not be contemporary topics. Many times they are abstract topics. However, if you're in the habit of penning down your thoughts or habit of writing things, it will be easier for you to write the essay than if you have no writing habit as such. So basically just think that every day I will write one particular essay on some current topic, some current affairs topic, because it will help you in your ability to crystallize your thoughts and write in a short period of time. Okay, so let's get started. I see a lot of people have come over to cracku.in/live. Those who have not come over, please go head over to cracku.in/live. Okay, you should see the test over there. I see 135 people over there, and I see only I see 244 people over here. So please, whoever has not gone over, please go over to the cracku.in/live. I'll be posting the first DM set now. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so Shivan, the test has started. Okay, yeah, tomorrow is the last day for XAT. Okay, guys who have not filled the XAT form yet, please fill the form because it is important. Do not wait any further for that. Okay. Do we have to type essay or write it on a paper? You have to type it. It is now completely online. So you have, if you have given GMAT ever, it is in the same format. Or basically, if you go to there's a website called wordcounter.org or wordcounter.net, basically which helps you count words. There is in a notepad text kind of an interface. You get basic interface for typing. That is the kind of interface you're going to get in XAT also. So if you want, you can practice typing on that so that you get the idea of how it is going to feel like when you're typing on during the XAT exam. Any additional questions in quants in XAT? Yeah, so trigonometry, which is not there in CAT, is there in XAT. Heights and distances, which are generally not asked in CAT, asked much in CAT, is there in XAT. There'll be, I think polygons is not that often asked or not that much asked in CAT, but it is asked in XAT. So these are the extra things that you have to remember from the perspective of XAT. Trigonometric, basically just learn the trigonometric identities. If you see our XAT crash course, you will see the basic, this outline also. So just head over to XAT crash course. You can go, and this is available to everybody, not just those who are our premium students. Anybody can see the XAT crash course and download the day-wise schedule. So you can see whatever is the extra parts that are specific to XAT as such. So for example, a lot of probability is additional probability is not really that covered in CAT. Base theorem is not really considered in CAT, but these are part of XAT. Similarly, sometimes you have questions that are the part of scheduling, batch scheduling, etc. Scheduling, which generally comes in LR, might come as part of DM in XAT. This is something that came years earlier. Mostly nowadays, DM is less of scheduling and less of quant or LR and more of human resources kind of thing. But it is something that came years earlier. So that is something that you should know how to solve. in terms of quant, one more thing that you have to remember is like every single year you will get one DI based, table based DI in XAT quant. So if you're very good at it, it would be an added advantage as such. Almost every year they have one table based DI. Okay. So please do check out our crash course, and if at least download the schedule, so you'll at least know what is additional that you have to remember from perspective of XAT as such. Okay, and we have 5 XAT mocks, so please do check out our XAT mocks and XAT crash course. Okay, let's all XAT DM PY will be discussed in XAT DM course. Yes, basically we have tried to figure out from the previous year's papers. So will previous year's questions be discussed? Not previous year's questions. We have basically tried to figure out the different types of DMs that have come. Because not every type of DM is like previous year's question is like representative of what is likely to come. So we have decided that, okay, we have tried to categorize it as like ethical dilemmas, HR based DM sets, organizational behavior based DM sets, and we have tried to categorize them and basically give you how to deal with each type of DM set as such. So if you have organizational behavior, when it comes to organizational behavior, what you should remember. So organizational behavior is actually a management topic. There's like a whole course that you go through in the first year of MBA, but the basics of it are that you should remember. From that basic idea, we have tried to like say that in these kind of scenarios, what you should be doing. When it comes to HR, there are certain HR policies that you should follow, like of non-discrimination, of having a sticking to a code of conduct. So when you have these kind of HR policies that are like accepted across industries, whenever you get an HR set, you should basically try to adhere to those policies as such. So this is the basic thing that we try to categorize and tell you the do's and don'ts for each type of DM set as such. Okay. So let's see how people are doing. So I think this is something that most people would get. This is on the easier side. But having said that, DM requires a lot of practice, and you should definitely put in the time and effort to do well in DM. Video solutions for the XAT mocks. No, currently we do not have video solutions for our XAT mocks. There are very detailed written solutions. So basically we make sure that our written solutions are unambiguous. Every single option, we tell you why that option is not correct. So if A is the answer and B, C, D, E are not the answers, we tell you exactly why that is the case. Okay. How do you increase beyond 30? So Suresh basically tried to figure out where, what was the individual scores. I would say that focus on the areas that you have to improve. In terms of DM, basically try to get up to 8 or 9 in DM, and then focus on VARC and quant as such. Practice a lot of quant. Speed matters a lot when it comes to quant as such in XAT, and in VARC focus on the different types of RCs that come, especially in this. Focus on the poem RCs, focus on RCs which are like sometimes philosophical. A lot of XAT VA is verbal ability, that is grammar and sentence correction, fill in the blanks, vocabulary. Even parajumbles are slightly on the harder side. So if you improve in VA, you will do much better in the verbal and reasoning section. If you improve in basic quant arithmetic, you will do better in the quant and DI section. How will one cover probability plus days and that too in 2 hours? Basically, probability and base are based on the simple concepts of counting. So if you have already done some amount of permutations and combinations, it won't be that difficult. These are, I think probability is, I think more than an hour. Base is also around that. Base is actually a very simple topic. It's not a difficult topic at all. There's just one formula that you have to remember in base. And honestly, I don't even remember the formula. In base, I always think of in terms of the table structure. I always draw the table, and because I draw the table, I don't have to remember any formulas when it comes to base. It's just a very small, simple concept. A lot of people generally feel that probability is difficult to do. It is very, very like tricky, or it's something beyond them, but often probability is just simple counting, and if you take the time to consider the different cases, just draw them out or just categorize them out, it is easier to solve as such. Okay, so complex numbers come in XAT? No, they don't, but surds come, not complex numbers, surds. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So some 45 seconds left, so best of luck. I hope all of you guys are able to solve this. All the sections in XAT. See, basically it changes quite a bit, Rutuja, so I can't tell you now. For example, in 1 year, DM sectional cutoffs were above like 10, 11. In 1 year, it was 5. So there is a lot of variation when it comes to XAT sectional cutoffs. Even in the other two sections also, you can't really tell until you see the difficulty of that particular section. So you, it's not something that you can forecast going in. Neeraj, basically try to see which one you have an added advantage in. That can sometimes be two people's advantage, sometimes it can be two people's disadvantage. DM can be something that a lot of people sometimes have an intuitive understanding of DM. Sometimes DM is very difficult for some people. If you are somebody who struggles a lot in DM, then maybe focus on Snap. If you find DM doable, then I would say that focus on that. But at the same time, I would say that try to prepare for both. If you have already prepared for CAT as such, both are just incremental additional work as such. You don't have to prepare from scratch for Snap and from scratch for XAT as such. So those two additional things you can actually do in the time that is there. Okay. Should I attempt all the questions in DM? I would say that attempt only the questions where you feel you have a good sense of what the set is about. If you're not sure about it, then don't attempt. But you can't leave a lot of questions also in XAT. So in XAT, beyond the 8 unattempted questions, there is a negative marking for questions beyond 8 unattempted questions. You get minus 0.1 as such. So if it's one DM set or something like that, you can leave. But don't leave like 10 or 11 questions from DM, because that would be counterproductive. So you can leave one off DM set if you just don't understand what that set is about. Then it is okay to leave it. But otherwise, try to finish as much as possible from DM also. Minimum sectional score, again, I don't want to comment on that, because if DM is easy, then I don't want to say that try to get at least double digits or 10, and if it's easy, then the DM sectional cutoff is higher. Basically, try to do to the best of what the section offers you. If the section is difficult, then your like the cutoff will be lower. If the section is easy, then the cutoffs will be much higher, sometimes double or triple of the base as such. So do not get fixated on specific cutoffs as such. Okay. Please do check out our previous year's papers as well. All of them are with answers. They are in the test format. So please answer all of them. Please take all of them, because that will give you a very good idea of the types of sets that come in DM, the difficulty level. Most of your questions would actually, you would get a better understanding or sense of it if you actually take it. Because many of your questions are individual. That will I do well in XAT? You can take the previous few CATs like XAT mocks to actually get a sense of that. Okay, so let's get started. I think most of you guys got the first question, and second question mostly got it right. And third question I think was slightly on the harder side. So let's take a look at the questions. So 3 friends Amit, Bhanu, Charan completed their BTech in Mechanical Engineering from Bharat Institute of Technology. During their final year of graduation, they got a job offer in Maitri as a junior software engineer. Although Bhanu is not interested in working as a software engineer, he is attracted towards a high-paying job. Amit and Charan are learning data science since the past 2 years, and they are very enthusiastic about the job. After completing their final year exams, the 3 of them joined Maitri. After a month of training, they are allocated to a project in the field of data science. Because of prior expertise, Amit and Charan are performing their tasks successfully and getting praise from manager and colleagues. Meanwhile, Bhanu is struggling and is finding it very difficult to complete the project. He has to complete his remaining tasks in a week's time. What should he do in this situation? So there is basically a issue with Bhanu. Bhanu is not able to keep up with the people who are recruited with him. He is having teething issues. Basically, he has just joined. He is new to the field. He is new to the work or area of data science. His colleagues, Amit and Charan, have certain previous knowledge of data science. So he is kind of struggling. Secondly, the other thing that is there is that there is a deadline looming. Now, when you have a deadline looming, an important thing to note is that when you have a deadline looming, you should always communicate with your manager that if you're struggling, you should communicate with your manager before the deadline is over. Oftentimes, when you miss a deadline, it is much worse than if you tell your manager beforehand that you're struggling. If you tell your manager beforehand that it is unlikely that I'll meet the deadline, there'll be lesser consequences than actually completely missing the deadline as such. Because if you don't tell your manager beforehand, it is in a way, it is far more disappointing, in a way that is far more a breach of trust than if you tell beforehand that I'm struggling, I won't meet the deadline. Communication around deadlines is considered super important in organizations. If you do not communicate about deadlines, not meeting deadlines, you are considered to be extremely unprofessional. So that is one thing that you should keep in mind. Now let's take a look at the options as such. Since he joined the company just for pay, he should not worry about the work as long as he is getting his salary. Now this is a, if you just think of it, okay, is this the thing that will be effective for you in the long run? Would this keep Bhanu at his job in the long run? If he just doesn't care about his job, would he be employed for long? So when it comes to, if you consider ethical, effective, pragmatic, is this a pragmatic solution as such? Because this is just a way in which somebody can get fired. Because if you do not care about the job, you're not going to have it for long. So in this case, I would say that this is not a practical thing to do, and this is also not effective thing to do, because you are going to not meet the deadline, and sooner or later you are going to be fired. So I'd say A misses quite a few it's not effective, it is not practical. Doing nothing is worse than doing, at least trying to do something as such. Let's take a look at option B. Inform his manager about his difficulties and ask for suggestions. Now in this case, is it ethical? Yes, you are sharing with your manager that the week's deadline that you're facing is something that you're struggling with, you are not going to be able to meet it in most cases, and you are asking for help. Now this basically can end up two ways. The manager can refuse to help you, which is in a way, at least you tried, there is no harm done. Or the manager helps you, he gives you an extension in deadline, he tells you the resources that you can use, or he tries to guide you or give you some kind of inputs on how you can better do your job. There is limited downside in this and a lot of upside in this. It is not unethical, it is the pragmatic thing to do. It will be effective because your root cause that you are not able to do your task or complete your task is being addressed. And in this case, I would, until all the other options are seen, I would say this would be the practical thing to do as such. So I'd say this would achieve my objective of trying to, at least trying to manage the expectations before a deadline that is coming up. Now let's take a look at option C. Ask Amit and Charan to complete his task. Now, is it ethical to ask your colleagues to do your job? Is it ethical to ask people to do your work as such? If his manager finds out, he is going to have a worse impression of Bhanu than if Bhanu was not able to do his job. He is going to have the impression that Bhanu is not only not good at his job, but he is a somebody who is a kamchor, who doesn't do his work or who puts his work on other people. This is much worse as such. It is unethical and it should be the first thing that you should eliminate. So I can eliminate option C very easily. Consider option D, hire another person to do his job. Again, this is the exact same problem with option C. This is extremely unethical. You cannot subcontract out work, especially in a company context. Giving access to company information, company project information to an outsider would be a breach of company's trust. It is extremely unethical to do. And again, ethics is the first filter that you can use, and ethics filter can remove all of these very poor options as such. The last option is request Amit and Charan to share their knowledge. Now this is not unethical. You are requesting somebody to do something. Is this practical or pragmatic? I'm not sure whether this is a practical thing to do, because you have 1 week's deadline. Even if they try to help you, we don't know for sure whether they'll help you or not. You have a looming deadline in front of you. Now, if you have a looming deadline in front of you, the first thing that you should address is that deadline. You should communicate with the manager that there's a chance that you might not meet that deadline. This would not be effective in managing those expectations as such. This is not pragmatic, because even if they try to teach you, would you be able to complete your task within one week's time frame as such? It's difficult to tell. So between B and E, B tells you that this would actually help you more in managing the expectations and meeting the deadline as such as. So B would be the right answer. Now let's take a look at the second question. So Bhanu requested Amit and Charan to help him to cope up with the daily task, but Amit and Charan couldn't help because of the heavy workload. In quarterly review, Amit and Charan got high ratings, but Bhanu got a poor rating, and his HR informed that he would be fired if he doesn't show improvement in the next quarter. Meanwhile, BIT released their final year results, in which Bhanu passed in first class while Amit and Charan failed in 2 subjects, and they are planning to hide this information from the company, as Maitri has BTech as a minimal eligibility to work in their company. What should Bhanu do in this situation? So here you have a situation where Bhanu is kind of struggling at work, and Amit and Charan essentially have not passed their BTech yet, and they have to kind of repeat a couple of two subjects as such. So both of them are in a slight pickle as such. So let us see the options. Remember, remove any unethical options, remove anything that is not practical, pragmatic or feasible, remove anything which is not effective, which does not address the problem. Here the problem is that both you, Bhanu, as well as Amit and Charan are in a fix as such. So let's take a look at the options. Suggest them that it is better to inform the HR and ask them what can be done. Again, I think this is a practical, mature thing to do. If you have a good EQ, you'd understand that the company would not have an immediate fire policy, especially for good employees, just because they have failed 2 subjects. Failing 2 subjects doesn't mean that you are not getting your degree. It means that you have to do some additional work or some additional time to actually get your degree. So they might have policies in place for something like this. Especially because you have gotten good ratings, they would be not likely to let you go as such. So the right thing to do, the mature thing to do in this kind of case would be to go talk to the HR that what should be done in such a case. So I'd say A is ethical, it is pragmatic, and it is also effective. It addresses the immediate concern of what should be done with the dilemma that they are facing. Let's consider B also. Keep quiet and mind his own business. Is this ethical? If you have information which impacts impacts the job, or it impacts your company as such, should you keep quiet on it? If it impacts the company negatively, then you have a moral obligation to tell the company that this is the case. So for example, if you are working in a company and you know that, okay, this particular product is malfunctioning, even if it is not your job to figure out whether it functions properly or not, you have a moral and ethical obligation to tell your company that. This option, B option, does not live up to the ethical obligation that Bhanu has. So because it is unethical, I can eliminate this. Inform HR and ask them to take strict action against Amit and Charan. Now, if you inform HR about this and ask them to take strict action against Amit and Charan, this is extremely unethical towards your friends. They have done nothing wrong as such. They have failed their subjects. Again, second thing is that it does not help your particular case. Having or punishing somebody else does not help you necessarily. And Amit and Charan tried to help you, they just couldn't because of their workload. Again, punishing others does not help you. They might, and it does not help Amit and Charan definitely. So in this case, it is definitely not effective in helping either you or them as such. So I'd say that this would not be the right thing to do. Even if it is ethical, it would not be the right thing to do because it is not effective as such. So we can eliminate this. Threaten Amit and Charan that he would inform HR if they don't complete his daily tasks. Clearly this is unethical. You can't blackmail your colleagues into doing your work. So directly I can eliminate option D. Being a good friend, suggest Amit and Charan to get duplicate mark sheets. Again, a easy answer to do because you cannot blackmail or you cannot cheat or you can't do unethical actions like this. So we can eliminate most of the options very easily. So A would be the right thing to do. Let's take a look at the third question. After 11 months and 25 days since joining, Bhanu is enjoying his work at Maitri and should get promoted after completing 1 year. He then got an offer from Byju's, an international company, in senior software engineer role, and wants him to join in 45 days. In Maitri, they are working on a project which is in the final stage, in which the role of Bhanu is crucial, and it will take about a month to complete. Although Bhanu is hoping for a promotion, but due to the pandemic, there is no guarantee as such. Also, the notice period in Maitri is 30 days. What should Bhanu do in this situation? So in this case, consider the timeline, okay? So today is say day T. By T plus 45, you should you should either join Byju's or not join Byju's as such. Now you have the other option, which is like today is like 11 months 25 days. So in 5 days you are going to figure out you're going to complete 1 year of your joining, in which case you will either find out whether you are getting a promotion or no promotion as such. So this is also there. And another thing is that you have to give at least 30 days of notice. So if this is T plus 45, you should at least give notice by T plus 15 so that you can cover the 30 days notice, 30 days notice period. Another fact is that you are working on a project, it is going to take another 30 days. So somewhere around T plus 30, you are going to deliver your project as such. So if you consider the timeline, by what day should you actually take a decision? You need to take a decision by T plus 15 because that is the day by which you should at least put in your notice to take up the job of Byju's. You should then by T plus 30 you are anyway going to complete your project. So you are fulfilling your moral and ethical obligations with your current company. So till T plus 15 you don't really need to make a decision either way as such. So essentially you can wait till then, because till then you will figure out whether you are getting a promotion or not and how your current job stacks up with the new job offer that you have gotten. So essentially you do not need to take a decision at least for the next 15 days. So let's take a look at the options. Apply for resignation and join Byju's after completing the notice period. Now, if you apply for resignation now, you are giving up the option of knowing whether or not you will get a promotion, and with that how much you are going to earn. Because if you are going to get a promotion, if you are going to improve your salary as such, you might not want to leave as such. It might be better than the competing offer that you have gotten. So I would say that this is you are giving up a option as such, a free option that you have of seeing how this is going to turn out at the current job. So I'd say this makes no sense. Wait till another 5-10 days to get an idea on promotion and then take the action according to it. You have 15 days essentially. You have 15 days by which time you can get all the information and then take a final call between your current job and Byju's as such. So I'd say that this would be the right thing to do. It is the pragmatic thing to do. It is not unethical to wait and give a notice as long as you cover the 30-day notice period. It is not unethical. You will be covering and finishing your project. This will be the practical and pragmatic thing to do, and it will be effective also. In that case, you will have the option of choosing the better offer as such. Reveal to this manager that he will resign in case he is not promoted. Now this is unethical, this is blackmail, this is in a way trying to arm twist your manager. Even if your manager gives in this time, he'll not have a good relation with you because he'll basically feel that he was arm twisted into giving you a promotion. Especially if the company has a policy because of the pandemic, if they are not going to be promoting, this would actually put your manager in a sticky place and might not even work as such. So it is unethical and it is also maybe not effective, because if your company has policies against it, then it will actually not work and it will actually create a friction at your workplace as such. So I'd say C is not right. Continue working in Maitri with whole focus on completing the project. But why would you do that when you have an option of a better offer? Again, in a professional context, you don't need to be loyal to your current employer. You need to be professional with your current employer, which means that you complete your obligations, you finish your project, and then if you get a better offer, you are allowed to take it. So there is no such thing that you have to be lifelong with one employer as such. So D is not a pragmatic solution as such. Pragmatic solution would be to select the job that gives you a better offer. So D is not pragmatic. Ask Byju's to give him 2 months to think. Again, is this feasible? If somebody gives you a job offer and says that you have 45 days to join, if you tell them no, give me 2 months, they'd actually take back the offer because they'll feel that you are not interested in joining. So is this practical? Is this something that you can actually do? I would say no. So the right answer is option B. Now I'll give another set. I'll try to answer a couple of questions and I'll give another set. I think most of you have gotten the gist, especially with the easier DM sets, you are able to answer. So I'll give another set and I hope you are able to do that as well. Okay, and I'll try to answer some of your questions. Ma'am, I'm struggling with number system. Will that affect probability? Any suggestion of how to do it? Is it a good idea to skip it? In terms of number systems and probability overlap, the only overlap where I basically think that that overlap occurs is when you have prime numbers and you have to consider probability given prime numbers, or certain cases where the numbers are only prime or something like that. Probability and number systems don't have that much overlap as such. So again, if you just remember what are the prime numbers under 100, I don't think that would be a difficult this as such. Again, probability is again, don't focus so much on probability that you lose focus of the other things that are there in quant as such. There are many other aspects in quant. Arithmetic continues to be a big chunk of quant in XAT also. It was a big chunk in CAT. It continues to be a big chunk in XAT. Apart from that, there is algebra, there's modern maths, all of the other things are also there. Probability is just one thing extra. So it's not that probability is going to be like another section and entirely on probability. It's not like that. There will be 1 or 2 questions on probability. So do not like lose perspective. It's just one additional topic that you should do because it was not really that well covered under CAT. Okay. Coordinate and geometry. So basically again, coordinates and geometry, coordinate and algebra. Again, Will option elimination work in DM? Yes, it definitely works in DM. Basically, try to filter out the wrong options as such. As I said, remove unethical options, remove options that are not feasible or pragmatic, remove options that are ineffective, and then you will be left with a smaller set of options as such. Generally, that is the way you should actually look at decision making. There is no one objective right answer. Of the options, you have to eliminate the wrong options. That is the every answer you have to essentially get through option elimination only. I'm not much comfortable with algebra. Would it be wise to skip it? I'm quite decent at arithmetic. I would say don't skip entire algebra. I would say that just do at least quadratic equations from algebra. If you consider that if 4 questions come from algebra, like if max 4 come, at least 1 or 2 will come from quadratic equations. So if you are okay at quadratic equations, you will at least not miss those particular questions, and they'll generally be on the easier side as well. So I would say that at least do quadratic equations from algebra as such. Last year there was only one question from arithmetic. Do you think there'll be same pattern this year? Basically, I don't think that is the case as such. There'll be definitely this, because essentially much of it is arithmetic. You might think that okay, this is not arithmetic, but essentially all ratios and proportion, percentages, simple questions basically on what numbers can take. All of this is simple arithmetic as such. So time and work, time, speed, distance. So it's not that there will be one question. There will be more than that, definitely. And doing well in arithmetic is super important even from that perspective. How many questions in a single DM set? So there will be basically 7 DM sets, and each DM set has 3 questions. So you have a total of 21 questions. DM set expected you, okay, and then you answer with that mentality. At least in the set, it was that case. Ankit, you can't really tell, because basically every year the paper setter will be different, okay? So how one paper setter thinks, you don't know that whether the next paper setter is going to think the same way. I would suggest that if you choose options which are ethical, which are basically not completely wrong, not unethical, not like doing things which are evil, you might lose out on some questions, like the example that I gave with the professor and student, but by and large you would actually make the right choices. So you would get maybe 1 or 2 questions wrong, but like 7-8 questions right. So do not go with that mindset that you have to make the villainous choices as such. That was only true for a few questions where there was a like diversion between expected and what was actually the case as such. So do not go with that mindset, I would say. So Achut is asking what are the ideal attempts for XAT exam. I would say that try to attempt the entire quant from the DM section. See, basically XAT has negative marking for leaving questions as said. So do not try to do not leave more than 8 questions. Try to leave, if you are not very sure of a DM set, leave 3 or 4 questions from DM. If you are not very good at particular types of like poem RCs or verbal and this, try to leave some questions from VRC section as such. But do not leave more than 8 questions, because then essentially attempting blindly and not attempting at all, the difference between them becomes very little as such. You get minus 0.1 for not attempting and for minus 0.25 for incorrect attempt as such. So the marginal change is only minus 0.15, and in that case you are actually better off just guessing also. So geometry is a bit difficult for me to understand. So Sakshi, in that case, I would suggest that in geometry also there are easier portions of geometry. See, in geometry, triangles and circles is difficult. But the easier part of geometry is solid geometry is easy, because solid geometry you have to remember formulas, and if you remember the formulas, it is easier to solve as such. Similarly, coordinate geometry in general is easier, because even if you are not somebody who is an engineer, it's easier to visualize as such. If you are a visual person, you can try to at least draw it out and try to figure that out. So try to pick out parts of geometry that you can do. Given the fact that you are not very good at geometry, try to pick parts of it that you can do better. Is there deduction for every yes? Yeah, there will be minus 0.3. There will be deduction for the negative this. but finding it difficult to understand some solutions without video solution. Adhyayan basically try to see the videos that are there with the XAT crash course. Basically, if you try to have a like a framework kind of mind, it essentially you will have a better idea of what in general is the right answer. Again, our answers and the answers that are given in the XAT key do not match 100%. So there will be some answers where you will be like, I don't understand the logic of it. And honestly, even I don't understand the logic of telling a student that you should handle it internally or something like that. That was the case in the last year's DM set. But again, even if they don't overlap 100%, they will overlap a 70% of the time. And essentially, that is enough to clear the cutoff. That is enough to get like a double-digit mark in DM as such. And that should be your objective. This is not something that you can get 100% accuracy in, even 80% accuracy in. So basically, just if you understand that this is not objective, this is subjective, and there will be areas which you don't agree with, it will be easier to move on from there. There should be broad agreement without exact precise agreement when it comes to DM as such. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see how people are doing. Okay, so I think most of you guys were, I didn't post the question, sorry. So here is the second set as such. Okay, so hope you guys have are able to solve this particular set. So what aspects of geometry are important which are comparatively not in CAT? I would say, see, basically refresh the formulas for solids for coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry doesn't come that often in CAT. You probably not even remember midpoint formula and all of those things, but refresh them for XAT as such. Again, trigonometric identities, trigonometric ratios are important from XAT perspective, but they are not that often asked in CAT as such. So try to look them up again. These are basically the small differences that are there. Again, heights and distances, you can expect at least one question from heights and distances in XAT. So that is something that you should also take a look at. Okay. Is the crash course live or recorded? It is all recorded videos, Harsh. But we have essentially put in a lot of effort for XAT DM as such. We have considered all the different types of DM that have come, but they are recorded videos. You can take a look at the batch crash course batch schedule. You can see what is the schedule as such, so that you can know how much is like what is being covered on what day and what is the exact level of detail that we are going into. Okay, so please do check out XAT crash course, and also please take previous year's XAT mocks. Essentially, you will understand what are the differences between CAT and XAT only if you attempt the XAT papers. So a very good starting point would be the XAT previous year's papers. We have all of them in mock format with answers. So there really is no excuse not to take it. They are freely available. You don't have to be a Cracku premium student to take it. So I expect all of you to at least take 5 out of these previous mocks before XAT. Okay. And also please do check out Cracku's crash course. The schedule is freely available whether you're a premium student or not. So please at least download the schedule, because essentially you have only 1 month from now till that 1 month and 8 days as such. But even then, basically you have to be very conscious of making the best use of it, because it is very restricted time. You can't waste any time as such. Another thing that I'll tell you is that before that, generally CAT key comes. And CAT key brings its own set of distractions with it. Again, just 1 day before the XAT exam, you will get the CAT scorecard or something like that, or things will come out just before the XAT exam. So you have to also consider in your schedule that there will be distractions of this sort. So you have to be very conscious that you get your portion done very quickly, you get all the concepts covered very quickly, so that you don't leave it for the last week or the last 2 weeks, because there will be distractions just before CAT. You can bet on the fact that there will be distractions just before CAT as such. Habitually they release the CAT scorecard and the CAT key just before the XAT day as such. So just make your this that I should cover XAT portion as early as possible. If you're not prescribing to XAT's crash course, at least follow the schedule, because it will keep you on track, and make sure that you actually cover the portion before XAT as such. Okay, let's see how people are doing. Okay, so some 4.5 minutes left. So I hope they are able to do well. Is arithmetic of wood level in XAT like CAT, or is it moderate? there are moderately difficult questions in it. I think that Quant is generally of the same level, or I would say slightly easier. This year, at least Lot 3 CAT Quant was on the harder level, I see. I think at least that Quant is easier than CAT Quant this year was. So definitely, I don't think it is, I would say it is definitely on the easier side than on the harder side. How to juggle between IFT and XAT? Now I'm not confident about, again, Ishika, basically you have to make a choice of where you want to end up also. So is it that you want to go to IFT, you have particular expertise or a particular domain that you want to enter? Look at each of the colleges, you see their where they get placements in, see the courses that are on offer. So if you want to do HR, or if you want to do business management, if you want to go to specific industries that come to XLRI, focus on that. If you want to go to specific industries or specific companies that come to IFT, focus on that. You have to make a call based on your interest and which institute you want to go to. I have not done so great in CAT. Can I do better in XAT? Some people have told me that XAT Quant and verbal is sometimes equal or more difficult in terms of difficulty. So I would say that verbal is not more difficult. Verbal is different. Essentially, your RC, suppose you have this RC, big chunk of RC in CAT, and you have little bit of VA, okay, like 2:1 ratio. Now consider that the weightage is completely shifted. Now you have a bunch of verbal weightage that is there in VRC section. There are grammar and sentence correction questions. There are like verbal questions. There is critical reasoning. There are many such kind of questions that come in verbal that definitely don't come in CAT verbal section as such. Is it harder? No. Objectively, it is easier. But it is different, and because it is different, you don't have a lot of practice in it, which makes it harder. So if you actually spend time practicing it, if you actually spend time doing critical reasoning, grammar and sentence correction, in fact, if you look up all the grammar and sentence correction rules that are there in our crash course, you will get like much better accuracy in those verbal questions than you ever achieved in CAT RC as such. So it's not harder, it's because it's difficult, a lot of people are not able to do it. It's not harder objectively, it is easier than CAT, it is more doable than CAT. With preparation you can do better in XAT than you can do in CAT as such, but preparation is required. Okay. Should one try again next year for IM, ABC, FMS if we shortly miss on them, or take like colleges like NMIMS and SIBM? So Divisha, basically again it depends on what you want to do. So for example, if there is a specific industry that you want to go to, that is you're dead set on consulting, you have to go into consulting, then I would say then wait for ABC. But if you want to do general management, if you want to do marketing, there are many companies that like come to both ABC as well as NMIMS. For example, if you want to go to like Unilever or do marketing in Unilever, it doesn't matter which you go to as such. There are many companies that go to both of these campuses as such. So you have to figure out what you want to do, which industry you want to go to, where do you actually want to be working at the end of your MBA like degree as such. So with that will be a better idea whether you should reattempt or whether you should go to this particular college or that particular college. Okay. Sorry. So one of them is asking how to manage the 3 hours of each section in XAT. So I can give you my strategy. So basically, from my perspective, I try to make sure that I clear each sectional cutoff. I do enough in verbal. I solve the entire verbal and reasoning section. I solve enough of DM to clear the DM cutoff, and I try to finish all of DM in half an hour, because essentially I've realized that how much ever time you spend in DM, you're not going to every 2 questions you get positive, 1 question becomes negative. So essentially it's not the area for where you're going to get a lot of marks from. The area that I get marks from is basically Quant. Year on year I get almost complete marks from in Quant. I get like 100% accuracy or like near 100% accuracy in Quant, and because of that, that is where my marks are coming from, and that is basically getting my percentile to be 99.99. I get marks in Quant, and that is basically where I do well. See, most of us will get some questions correct in verbal, some questions wrong in verbal. Most of us will get some questions correct in DM and some questions wrong in DM. But essentially, you don't have a lot of control over that. Basically, especially when it comes to DM, whether you agree with the person or you disagree with the person, fundamentally can be different. I can have a different mindset than another person, and there'll be little overlap. Then I can't really control that as such. But I can at least make sure that I don't do things that are clearly unethical or wrong. And if I start doing or making choices which are clearly unethical and wrong, then I will essentially end up not clearing the DM cutoff. But if I make sure that my choices are ethical, pragmatic, feasible, effective, then at least I will clear the DM cutoff, and then I can focus on verbal and reasoning and quant, specifically quant, which will give you the most return. So I basically try to finish everything and then pour all my time into quant. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I have 2 years experience in IT now and responsible for team of 4. Should I go for GMAT next year if I don't get college of my interest? I want to be in technical managerial. I would say that definitely try for GMAT as such, because with 3 years you are on the border as such, with especially with IT managerial actually might do better with GMAT. But again, I would say still keep giving give CAT next year also, because again you get options of technical managerial even from these ABC institutes as well. So again, I would say that 3 years is kind of the like the just the point of inflection. You can go both to ABC as well as go to ISB as well as go outside India. So 3 years is kind of that sweet point where both of these are possible. From year 4 onwards, then I would say just go focus on GMAT. Under 3 years, you have to focus on the Indian institutes only. So basically 3 years, you have both options available. Okay. You need like 99 I think 99.5 or 99 plus as such, 99.23 plus, but I'm not really sure as such. Essentially just actually do look up XAT percentile predictor, because that will give you a better idea than I have at that. Okay, let's see how people have done. So I think most people found the 4th question slightly tricky. 5th question was doable and 6th question was also doable. So let's take a look at why it was difficult to answer this. Let's take a look at the set. XATM is an online recharge company. Recently it introduced a feature of online wallet where you can store your money. The company has expanded manifold in the past few months and has tied up with several businesses which started accepting payments with XATM wallet. The company spent large amounts of money, large amounts to acquire customer by running various discounts and cashback offers. Now the company has done away with the discount offers. Another company, Karo Recharge, whose business model is similar to that of XATM, has entered the market. It is running massive offers to acquire customers. Because of Karo Recharge offers, XATM has started to lose a lot of its customers. So what is the question? What is the problem statement as such? XATM wants to buy, this is I think the 6th question. The 4th question is, which of the following should be the best course of action for XATM? So XATM has burnt a lot of money. Now it wanted to actually enter the profit making cycle, but it is being stopped from doing that because a new entrant has come, and the new entrant is burning money. And essentially because they are burning money, you are not able to make money or you are not able to profit. If you consider the cycle of like how products try to make money, is that initially they will lose money. If you consider this is the break-even point, initially they will lose a lot of money to acquire customers, but they will eventually hope that once customers stick around, they will end up making money based on the retaining customers as such. The point is always to make money in a business, right? You can't continue to make losses forever. So you have to be pragmatic that in the end, you have to find a way to path to profitability for XATM. That is a pragmatic thing to do. Secondly, ethical would be you can't do anything which is unethical as such. So let's take a look at the options. We'll try to do the same filters: unethical, remove not pragmatic, remove anything which is ineffective, and whatever you are left with, try to find the most optimal decision. Wait for the time till Karo Recharge stops giving offers. Once that happens, give small discount offers to gain the customers. Now, is this going to be ethical is fine, pragmatic, is this pragmatic? Because what is going to happen is that Karo Recharge is going to take a lot of your customers, and even if Karo Recharge runs out of money, there might be somebody else who will earn, some other third entrant will come, and the same thing will happen again. So you can't wait forever and you can't bleed customers forever, because all of this money that you spent in acquiring customers is becoming useless, because they are now going to your competitors as such. So doing nothing or just waiting will not be effective. It will not help you achieve the goal of firstly retaining your customers and then maybe finding a path to profitability. So A is not effective. Consider B. Spend more money in discount offers to compete with Karo Recharge. Now, is this ethical? Yes. Is this pragmatic or practical? No. Because how long are you going to keep making losses? At the end, the point of a business is to make profits. So whether it is Karo Recharge today or some other company tomorrow, you have to, at the end of the day, try to find a path to profitability. You can't continue to just lose money as such. So B is not a practical thing to do. It is not a pragmatic thing to do. So you can eliminate option B. Spend money on improving its services to retain the customers. Now exactly this is one way that you can actually prevent customers from leaving. Give them better services than Karo Recharge. Karo Recharge might be giving them discount offers, but now that you already have these customers on your platform, you know their behavior, you know their online consumer behavior, you know their likes or dislikes, you have a better access to them. You can actually leverage that into giving them services they want. People might give up on discount offers for convenience, for ability to do things quickly. So essentially you have to give some way of counteracting the free money or discount that Karo Recharge is doing. And one way of counteracting is offering convenience in return. So this gives you a way of addressing this issue and maybe finding a path to profitability. If you are actually improving your services so that people actually want your services over free things, then you have found a way of making profit. You have found a way in which people are ready to pay you or at least forego a monetary benefit so that they can use your services. So I would say C is a way in which you can, which is ethical, pragmatic and effective as well. So I would say C would be the right answer. Let's take a look at D and E as well. Introduce loyalty offers for regular customers, like giving them some discount on every third transaction. Again, this is not practical in the long term because one day you will have to give up this. So one day when you give it up, again they will leave. Secondly, you are giving off discount every third transaction. Karo Recharge is giving it for every transaction. So if this was a motivating factor, they would still leave you. So this is not effective at all. So because of that, we can eliminate option D. Launch marketing and advertising campaigns to tell people how their competitors are trying to cheat customers by offering poor services. Now this is completely unethical. You can't start rumors about your competitors. So because ethical this is being violated, it is easy to eliminate option E. So the right answer is option C. Let's take a look at the fifth XAT wants to reintroduce the discounts to protect its customers from switching to Karo Recharge. So the founder requests the investors for more funding. The investors, however, are reluctant to put more money in the company without seeing any profits. Which of the following reason is likely to convince the investors to invest more money in XAT? So basically think of it from the investor point of view, okay? You have already put in some money in XAT, you would like to see it become profitable. But you don't want to keep throwing money in a bottomless pit. It should not be that you give money and they keep burning it up. You give more money, they keep burning it up. So you have to find a way in which that you give money so that they come out of this particular issue, but they finally come out of it. It's not something that you keep giving them money forever. Today it is Karo Recharge, there will be some other firm that will come. So you can't do this in perpetuity as such. So you have to find a way in which you help them tide over this current crisis, but they find a path to profitability after that. So let's take a look at the options. XAT has already lost 10% of its customers to Karo Recharge, and if they don't introduce similar offers, they will end up losing far more. If this is the case, it doesn't convince an investor. This is just telling the investor that, okay, if I don't give money, again they will lose money. But this will happen again and again. This is not helping convince the investor that this is a perpetually losing proposition as such. If this company is something that will always lose money, I as an investor would not want to invest more money in it. So A gives me the impression that I will continue to lose money in this. So if I will continue to lose money in this, it makes me feel that it will be good money after bad. I will not invest more in XAT then. Let's take a look at option B. The money which is required to retain customers is way less than what they spent in acquiring new customers. If this is the case, then basically what it means is that in the long term, if I play this out, I am spending a little amount of money to keep my customers, but Karo Recharge has to spend a lot more money to attract customers. So in the long term, Karo Recharge is going to end up burning through its money faster than me, which is going to mean that they are going to run out of the business and I am going to actually stay in business. So if this is the case, basically it is showing a way, a path out of the current trouble as such. So I'd say this is something that would actually convince an investor. That is basically, I have a competitive advantage over Karo Recharge. I can keep my customers at a lower cost than it takes for him to lure them away. And that would mean that I can continue my market dominance if you just give me a little bit of money. So I would say that this would actually convince the investors. Let's say, take a look at option C. Karo Recharge won't be able to compete for a long time, and hence it would not involve large sum to retain customers. Now, if I am an investor, I'd say that, okay, it's this firm today. Suppose there's a new competitor tomorrow. I'll continue to lose money. So as an investor, this will not convince me as such. If B is the case, even if a new competitor comes tomorrow, that person will also have to keep spending more and I'll have to keep spending lesser. So again, I keep holding on to a competitive advantage over all other firms that are entering second after me as such. So over C, B is definitely an advantage. So I'd say C would be the wrong answer. People have got used to freebies, so it won't be possible to retain them without any additional freebies. Now, if this is the case, as an investor, I'd be like very worried, because this means that the people will never pay for my services, will never pay for ZTM. Then basically, as an investor, I have burnt all my money. Now, I will definitely not want to burn more money, so I'll definitely not go for this. Both A and C both are definitely wrong. So B is the right answer. So I'd say option B would be the right answer. Now let's take a look at the last question. The last question is, ZTM wants to buy Karo Recharge. So the founder of the ZTM approaches the founder of Karo Recharge. The founder of Karo Recharge is willing to sell his company. However, he has to convince his investors for that. Which of the following reasons is likely to convince the investors of the company? Basically, if you are the investors of Karo Recharge, what are you looking for? You're looking for a good return on your money. You basically want that I put 1,000, then I want to get 10,000, or I want to get 100,000. Whatever I put in, I have to get more value for that. So if you are getting a good deal from the acquisition, you would definitely go for it. If you're getting a poor deal from that acquisition, you will not go for it. So let's take a look at the options. The net worth of Karo Recharge would become 5 times after the acquisition. If that is the case, then my money is X today, it will become 5X tomorrow. I definitely say yes to the acquisition. So this will definitely convince the investors. I'd say A is a very strong reason for the investors to say yes. Let's take a look at B, C, D as well. ZTM has a larger customer base than Karo Recharge, which is fine because Karo Recharge is the second entrant as such. Again, this is not a motivating factor for the investor. The investor has to see some monetary gain, right? So this is not a monetary gain. Again, it doesn't convince me. Option C is the rate of customer acquisition for Karo Recharge has declined over the past few months. Now, this is a slight motivating factor. This indicates that Karo Recharge is not doing that well. So again, acquisition might be a potentially good thing for me. But if you see option A versus option C, which is a more convincing factor, option A clearly. So C might convince me, but option A does much more to convince me. So I'd say between A and C, I would definitely pick A as the reason. They will need a lot more capital to compete with ZTM, so it is better to sell the company than spending that much money. But we don't know whether the investors have that kind of money. If the investor does have the money and the willingness to compete, he might not get convinced by this argument. So again, we can eliminate option D. Last one is the perceived brand value of ZTM among the common people is more than that of Karo Recharge, which is to be expected because Karo Recharge is a new entrant. Again, this does not convince me to sell. Clearly, the only convincing factor is the fact that I am going to get much more value if I agree to an acquisition. Again, you have to remember that it is not necessarily a stake sale. So many times whenever an acquisition occurs, you get a stake in the combined entity. So it's not as if the investors are going to be cashed out of the entity as such. So A is a very good reason for me to actually agree with the sale. So A would convince the investors. As I could see, many of you could actually answer all of these things. So I would suggest that please start practicing, please start focusing on that. Focus on that for the next 1 month and you will get a very good return on that effort as such. Please do check out Cracku's XAT course. At least check out our schedule because you will get an idea of what kind of work is expected, what kind of how much, what are the topics, what is the expected weightage, etc. What extra things you have to do after CAT to crack XAT. So do check out our schedule for the XAT crash course. Also, please start taking the XAT previous year's mocks. These are completely free. They are in mock format with answers. So please do take them. So with that, I'll be signing off. So thank you guys for tuning in. It was really good to have a lot of participation. So thank you very much.